Alrighty. Welcome, everybody, to your typical Tuesday. That will be the April Swiss at Boylston. It is the last round, round 5 of the March version. I just got back from Florida. I was gone for 5 days. Monday night, very, very late. Technically Tuesday, because I don't get home till 12:30 or so. And I knew I had this game lined up where I had nothing to play for. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. No prize money's on the table. Just my pride. I matched against Justin, and of all the people at the Boylston Chess Club, I have played Justin the most. He is also, I would like to think, one of my friends. So the reason this makes things a little bit unusual, the metagame aspect, is that Justin and I have literally played a bunch of classical games. I think this might even be our 5th. But we've also played a bunch of Blitz games, and we've also played Rapid. So we've seen each other's repertoires. I believe he watches the videos from time, maybe not all of them, of course. No, I don't get that many views where I can count on people, watching all of the views. By the way, shout out Nico if you watch this. Before the game, he told me that he's been watching Babo Chess. He loves it, and honestly, that really made me very happy. He said, a combination of Naroditsky and Levy, which is like a big compliment. So, big thanks. After the game, Justin and I also went out for a drink. Everyone is invited on Tuesday, so if you play, you're more than welcome to come with us. We had Zach and Zane show up tonight, too. So that was kind of a nice thing. So anyway, it's a sort of, more social than competitive in this game. Although on Tuesdays, I really want them to be super competitive. But, name of the game, you try your best. Nonetheless, the reason there's a meta aspect is I know that Justin knows what I play better than most. He also goes around a lot, like looking at other people's boards, kind of getting an idea. He sort of knows what I'm capable of. And I also know that he does prep a bit. Like some people don't, and I believe them. Other people say they don't, but I don't believe them. Whereas Justin, has told me, he scouts, he looks at people a bit, he prepares a little bit. And he wants to play aggressive attacking chess, and it is what it is. On the plane ride from Florida back here, I was on Lee Chess on my phone, and I have like a bunch of studies. That's kind of how I do all my prep. I reviewed my Trompowsky lines, because I know the last time we played, Justin played knight f6 on move 1. I got into a Trompowsky, and I had to review my lines, because I haven't actually played a Trompowsky in a while. It's been weeks. Every time I play d4, people have been playing d5. I also know that Justin sometimes plays some funky chicken stuff. So for the record, I told him after, because I thought he told me at some point that he plays the English defense. This is the English defense. b6 against d4. It's an incredibly rare move, and I actually spent a little bit of time on that one, just because I didn't want to be caught completely flat-footed and unaware. But after the game, I talked to Justin about it, and he said, "Yeah, I've never played that in my life," and I said, "Oh, whoops." But not all prep is wasted. I mean, I was on a plane anyway. I may as well look at some d4, b6 lines just so I'm ready. Yeah, who knows if that'll come up. Nonetheless, I have like 18 chapters that I created of the Trompowsky. Justin played one of the lines, and I'm gonna give you all a little sneak peek. I actually did mess up the line a little bit. That's the problem with prep. I didn't like study for a long time on the plane ride. I watched Ratatouille. It's like a 3.5 hour plane ride. So I looked at chess stuff for like an hour basically. Anyway, I'm glad I reviewed. Let's get into the game. I'm trying to think if there's any other side commentary or action. Justin moves ridiculously fast. I think he would agree with this. Justin's a much better blitz player than classical. He uses the clock as the weapon in blitz for sure. He's very fast. Of all the people I played in person, he's definitely the fastest. In my opinion, hopefully this is not flame, much love, all that kind of stuff. I think that mindset can be useful when you're using the clock as a weapon, but I also think that Justin, even in this game, made a lot of like knee-jerk moves, and I think it was to his detriment. So he does put pressure on the clock, but he can be kind of wild in part because of it. All right, let's get on into the game. I'm pretty proud of this. We talked about it a little bit. I normally don't look at the computer stuff, but Justin and I at the bar did go through about half of the game, maybe even a little bit more, so I kind of have a vague idea of what the computer will say. But, much like what does the fox say, what does the computer say, doesn't really matter. All right. As you guys can see, I went d4. He did play knight f6. I was fine with this. Again, I reviewed everything, so I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I've been playing Trompowsky attack. And he goes, and I'm thrilled to see knight e4. The reason why, this is wow, I'm drawing arrows. It's been a week, guys. This is the most combative. Obviously, his knight's attacking my bishop. I'm going to have to move the bishop. What most people have been playing against me at the club, and even online is this move d5, and you get very stale positions. White has a very thin edge, and it's very simple as far as how to attack. Like, actually, funny enough, that's what happened in the game against Nico. So if Nico does watch this, he'll certainly remember that. And there's nothing wrong with d5. In fact, I think it's incredibly solid, and it's a good thing to do against the Trumhowski. But you just get like really dry positions. Whereas Justin opts for activity. We kind of talked about it. He likes attacking chess, and he went for the most combative of the Trumhowski lines, which is after I play this move, Bishop f4, he launches c5. Some variants, for example, you can play d5 here. You can even actually go g5. That's known as the Borg. It's not good for black, but I'm ready for it because if you don't know what to do, actually, it can be very, very dangerous for white. Nonetheless, he played c5, and as you guys can tell, he's trying to open up lanes for his queen. Okay, now I can draw arrows. If white's not careful, you can actually get your bishop picked off in certain lines. Obviously, I'm ready for it. It's not going to happen to me, but in Blitz, that certainly does happen. And the basic idea, and I did, thankfully, it looks like I followed my theory pretty well, is you first attack the knight. Obviously, if he attacks the pawn, you take the knight, and, that's a terrible trade. He has to retreat. No one ever plays knight d6, because in that line, you can just go pawn takes pawn. You're immediately pressuring it. I don't think this check works as well, for whatever reason, but everybody goes knight f6. Just, everybody goes there. I'm just trying to... I know I actually looked at the theory once for why... and you can... And I have some prep where you do the check first, and where you go to f6. If you go to d6, why is this so bad? I think it's just d takes. Yeah, okay, good. I don't know if you guys can tell, as far as when the computer is turned on, try to not do it very much. But if they ever play here, you just immediately snap at the pawn, and black is already considerably better. They check, you block, and after takes, they either have terrible pawns, or they block with the queen, or take back with the queen. You trade queens, and then they have terrible pawns anyway. And that's just a really bad structure. Just so you guys can tell, takes, check, block, takes, and if they go there, this is terrible for black. And if they go there, still terrible for black. So, anyway, that's why you never see the knight retreat to d6. Anyway, he goes knight f6. It's funny, in the very beginning, Justin wasn't sitting at the board. I started up, I played my move, and then he spent 2 minutes getting to the board, and then he basically is playing, up until move 7, he played immediately. I got up, I made some tea, I spent a couple minutes in the opening, I got down to an hour 26, but that's not because I was thinking at that point. It was just because we were both kind of getting up and kind of fidgeting around, kind of getting settled. The typical typical Tuesday. Things what you do during a chess game. I know, according to my notes, before I'd been pushing d5 with the idea of e4 and building a pawn chain, but the most combative for white is actually d takes c5, going into this checking line, and this is how white actually maintains an edge. So I know all this. I actually am pretty sure queen check is inaccurate. It's just what everybody plays. Yeah, e5 or e6 or b6 is actually what you're supposed to do here. Again, the move difference is 0.1, so let's be honest here. It doesn't really matter. It's just I know that everybody plays queen check a5, but it actually would be more accurate to not try to pick up the pawn right away. And that is something I have in my notes. Anyway, Justin checks. And this is where I actually did do my first thing. Okay, so maybe it says I spent 4 minutes. So maybe I actually was thinking at this point, because I was trying to remember if I'm supposed to go knight c3, c3, queen d2. And I know those are all the candidate moves here. And for the life of me, and this is where you're memorizing, I was trying to remember, okay, good. I ended up playing knight c3. It looks like queen d2 is slightly more accurate, but I think in my notes I'm supposed to play queen d2. For the life of me, I just couldn't remember. I spent 4 minutes debating these 3 moves, and at the end of it, I thought because I have my bishop positioned on f4 in this line, aiming at c7, I thought there are a lot of situations where I want to threaten these forks. So it makes sense that my knight is always on c3. So I eliminated c3 as a candidate move, and I know I always want to play queen d2 because I want to castle, but I thought I may as well get the minor piece out because he's going to attack that first. Even though I like having the bishop defended by the queen. So that's why I eventually played knight c3. Honestly, I couldn't remember my prep, and I didn't want to spend 10 minutes thinking about this. Where you guys saw the computer difference. It's 0.1. Where the difference is so marginal, but B, it's not even clear if I spend 10 minutes, I'm going to, be able to figure it out. So it's like, what's the point? What are we even doing here? Anyway, not surprisingly, Justin takes the pawn. I know that white is slightly better. I'm playing for e4, and my only question is, should I play e4 now, or should I go queen d2, make the improving move first? And I say, when in Rome, let's go e4. It looks like both of those, okay, those are both the good moves. They're basically equal, 0.9, 0.8. I guess it doesn't really matter. I did vacillate for a moment. It looks like I spent 3 minutes, because I was like, what should I do? And I just play e4. And I know when we arrive at this position where I've got the strong pawn chain, I'm getting ready to queenside castle, black is suffering from a lack of development, his queen's kind of just hanging around in the middle of the board, and I've got easy access, that I'm just enjoying my game. I'm really glad he didn't play the d5 Trumpowski, because it's very boring. Because this seemed a lot more exciting to me. The truth is, on Justin's time, because again, this is looks like where Justin did spend some time, I was wondering what to do if he plays e5 immediately. For the record, he prepares it with d6, which I think is a mistake, because I don't think you need to prepare it. Is if he plays e5 directly, and the reason why this move is annoying is he can infiltrate in some lines with his queen. If I was to drop back, I wouldn't do that, for the record. So I kind of want to stay on this diagonal. And the thing is, I wouldn't want to bring it all the way back to c1. Some lines of Trumpowski, it's actually correct. Obviously, it's a dead duck on e3, and I don't want to block in my queen. I need to activate my queen so I can queenside castle. So I was calculating on his time e5, bishop g5, and I kept trying to wonder if something like this is actually scary for me. Just so you guys can see with f6 coming. And I didn't know. I didn't know. I figured I'd have to work through this. Okay, it looks like this is not scary because I just go queen d2 and his knight is out of play. It looks like, in fact, knight h5 is quite bad. He should just go queen b6. Yeah, queen b6, because the idea is you always want to attack this pawn. I told Justin this after the game, that all the sharp lines are when black takes the pawn. It's somewhat poisoned, where I know that white is always better, but it's better according to the computer. It's really difficult to play. I've looked at all those lines, and I know white is better, but it's it's the kind of line, knowing Justin's style, he should go into. Because it's tricky, it's tactical, and there is upside to it. You can be up a pawn, but you have to play really sharply. It definitely fits his style. Anyway, I was wondering, and for the record, if he just does something like develop, I thought if we arrived at this position where my knight is going to hit d5 and I'm going to have pressure on f6, I thought I was much, much better. I also have the forking square on d7. So that's why I did want to remove this knight from that position. Anyway, he thought for a while. I did wonder if e5 right away worked. He is preparing it. I do realize that this d6 pawn is going to be a forever weakness. It's kind of my target throughout the game. I say, all right, this doesn't really stop me. I'm going to play queen d2. I played it pretty quickly. And my idea, of course, is just castle. It is what it is. Now Justin does play e5, and again, on his time, looks like he spent 5 minutes on this move. I was, again, stuck with the same situation about going to g5, but I liked it less, because I thought in those lines maybe... Why did I like it less? Basically, I think this is why. Because I know that all these bishop e3 lines are very sharp. For the record, I do play bishop e3. That's one of my cats playing the toy in the background. Yep, they're just rolling those balls. I'm sure this is fine. In fact, I'm sure it's good for white. But I went to the more active, and I thought his most active and sharpest response... I'm actually curious. I'm going to check the computer. I thought he should go queen b4 with the idea of snapping this pawn, even though it's poisoned. And we would just play that position. In fact, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to bet that queen b4 is better. No, it's not. He played the better move. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm just wrong. I have nothing to fear. If he plays there, I can just castle inside of it, and I have nothing to worry about. Okay. And white is significantly better. I'm already plus 1.2. All right, great. So this is looking good for me. Justin plays to a5. It's worth noting he is protecting the c7 square. So a lot of these jumps don't quite work right now, the fork, because he's taking it away. Moreover, if I leave the knight, he's not just pinning, we'll end up trading queens. And I think that white is better here. You probably don't want to trade queens because white has the more active pieces. Black is underdeveloped, and black is not safe. He's not that close to castling either. So I probably shouldn't have been looking to trade queens off. All right. After queen a5, this is where I did a giant think. I spent 8 minutes in this position. It's the first real think of the game for me. And afterward, I told him, I'll tell you guys my candidate moves. I thought that he's going to play bishop e6. He's going to be lasering on in. And I was worried about castling into that. I thought that I'm probably better. I have a battery already. But he has some activity and some action and aggression on my queen side. So I wasn't sure if that's good for me. So I looked at castles. I'm going to show you, I played this move, which I'm actually quite proud of. But I looked at playing bishop c4 directly to take away the sting of bishop e6 with the idea of bishop a6 here. I would be met with takes. But I didn't like this pawn clump because I thought that it helps him get d5 in because it's now supported. This is a backward pawn. It's a weakness. And if you can ever fix the weakness by pushing up, I don't really have anything to play for. It's worth mentioning as well that I no longer have the outpost on d5 because the e6 pawn would be doing a fantastic job. So I didn't like bishop c4, even though it's a developing move. You know, it's getting it into the game. I looked at just playing knight b5 here. Again, I didn't think I quite had the pieces, but I thought basically we would go trade, and then from here, I don't know, maybe he does this, he does that. I'm not sure. He had some problems here. So yeah, so I looked at bishop c4, knight b5, castles, and g4. Those were my candidate moves here. I'm going to turn on the engine now, just so I'm kind of curious where everything falls. Okay, g4, my move, is getting big respect. Yeah, look at that. The engine really likes my move. I'm glad. I spent, again, just so you guys can tell, I thought this was the first critical position of the game. I'm clearly out of book now. I buckled down. This is move 10. I didn't play 7 8 minutes. I spent 10 minutes from an hour 17, of which 4 of those was like getting tea, walking around the room and stuff. I go down to an hour 7, and I find g4 because I thought queenside castling was probably correct, but I thought that it was a little bit dicey because queenside castle and they do like bishop e6, so according to the computer. So it looks like my mind was in the game. They're also suggesting h4. I'm going to be honest, that was not on my radar. They're suggesting knight ge2. Makes sense, it's a developing move. Do they not like... Bishop c4 is still decent. It's probably a good move. Yeah, and it's a good move. And again, it's going to be met with bishop e6, and we probably just like trade it off or so. Or I can back it off, but I thought that this, then if he trades, I have to take with the c pawn, because here I'm actually going to be losing material, blah, 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 blah. All right, and then what about knight b5 immediately? Knight b5 is also playable. So, okay, the computer doesn't laugh at my candidate moves. I really was thinking here. I tried my best. But it looks like I found the best move in the position, and that really makes me very, very happy to find g4. And for the record, the reason why I thought this move was so good is I thought that I'm threatening g5 at the right time, which, again, weakens the support of the d5 square. Because my whole idea is I want to get my knight into d5, where it's a fucking monster piece. Where I'm threatening forks, where I'll be able to obviously rally my pieces behind, blah, 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 blah. Plus, with g5, I mean, there are certain lines where I'm threatening g6. I also have ideas of like h4, h5. I'm taking territory, space. I'm going to be opening up behind, things like that. Things of that nature. In medias rex. Actually, de natura, something like that. Anyway, so it was a very logical move. I was looking again at g5 if I had to be worried about like knight h5. The only reason that doesn't work is if I then play h4, it's very weakening because he can then slide into g3. Kind of forking the rook and the bish. That would be bad for business. But I also thought that if I pushes and he moves over, I don't have to play, these h4 ideas. His knight is just forever on the rim and very dim, where if he tries to jump in, boom, 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 I end up winning a pawn in all those exchanges. All right. Anyway, that was the love for g4. I thought that I still could play queenside castles later if it, makes sense. And not surprisingly, just plays bishop e6. I do think it's the best move in the position. And now it's worth mentioning I cannot queenside castle, or at least I don't think I can. I think if I queenside castle, he can go bishop takes, and if I go knight takes, he goes queen takes. I can't slide over. I actually may even be mating myself in some lines. I have to get some luft by moving my queen up and stuff. So I was not in love with that. So I needed to pivot, and I looked at the position. I spent another 7 minutes, and I thought I was going to combine ideas here. One idea was to play g5. I thought g5 was good. Another idea was to give him the check first. I didn't think this piece was doing much other than supporting my knight jump, with the idea of him blocking with a knight, trading, and if he and if he takes with the knight for whatever reason, then I can just jump right into d5 and I'm fine. But if he takes with the bishop, then playing g5, dislodging him, and then again landing the good knight on d5. So I was looking through all those variations about how to do it, what in the what now. Yeah, so I was looking at g5, bishop check on b5, and then just knight b5. And I landed on knight b5. Just for the record, I looked at this move with the idea when he like bounces, if he bounces back, now I can maybe plant it on d5. I'm not sure if it's even best here. And I also was looking at just some kind of check. For example, if he goes here, I thought that this was fine, and now I would play g5. So I looked at these positions. But I like this a little bit less good because now, again, his b pawn has become a c pawn. He's kind of fixed his structure, and I don't have that square anymore. It's not quite a mega outpost. So obviously, that's where I don't like it as much. All right. None of that happened because I then landed on knight b5. And I thought if he goes takes, he's got big problems with this fork coming in. And I thought in all those lines, I'm actually attacking the d-pawn where I can still quickly castle, and I'll just gun on down. I've got the open lines. I thought I'm just playing against his weakness. Justin still can't castle. His pieces are underdeveloped. And the whole time I played this, I was looking up, all right, if he takes, do I take with the king or the bishop? And I thought, okay, if he goes queen takes, I can go bishop takes, and I can bring it to b4, and I'm just going to laser all my pieces on his weakness, this backwards d-pawn, and I'm going to just win a pawn, and hopefully that'll give me enough of an edge to win the game. I thought basically at this point, after I played knight b5, so I've spent an hour, I'm down to an hour, I spent 30 minutes. I thought that if we clear off the d-pawn, I have the full d-file, that there's no way I was going to lose the game, if that makes sense. I know that we're far from it. We're not like grandmasters and stuff, so it's premature to say stuff like that. But I thought it was a very calm position where it's a 2-result game. Either I'll fuck up an endgame and I won't beat him, or I will. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a very nice game. I think my heart rate was very, very low at this point. That will change, as Justin knows and as I know, so you guys will see. All right. Nonetheless, when I play knight b5, I'm threatening all that stuff. I thought trading queens was forced. For the record, I did wonder. Actually, I wondered if queen d8 was best. Because I actually wasn't sure my follow-up. No, the computer says he has to trade. I wasn't actually sure. I was going to just castle into it. Okay, I was going to castle into it and still just gun everything on the d file. It looks like that is the right way of thinking. And Justin does need to trade. It does look like white has a decent advantage, of course. I take with the bishop. Again, just so you guys can tell, I'm trying to gun on in. He doesn't have time to push d5 because I'm still threatening the fork. He has to defend this. And this is what I mean by Justin. When I don't mark down the time of his moves, it means he blitzed the move. He blitzed this with 0.2 seconds, and I do not think knight a6 was like the obvious move at all. It's not. King d7 is better. Activating the king, taking away the fork, protecting the square. Yeah, and it's better by a little bit. 0.15 is not a lot, so I wouldn't get down on somebody for not playing that. But I'm telling you, when Justin plays a move fast, he plays it fast, and he blitzed this out so fast. I was like, whoa, did I make a mistake? And my whole thinking is pretty standard. I'm like, okay, I can castle, I can play bishop. Well, I can't play bishop b4 now. He is taking it away. It is worth pointing out. But when I castle, and obviously now I was thinking that I could play bishop back to e3, and I can gun down on the a7 pawn. So all this I thought was very, very standard. There's a concept Daniel Naroditsky has. Again, big fan. Amazing dude. But one of his videos I watched, actually while I was in Florida, he talked about a whole concept of your pieces don't have to be developed. And I think it's a really cool idea. And this whole game, my light square bishop hasn't moved, but it's theoretically developed because it's still doing something. So I was trying to use that to my advantage, where I'm underdeveloped on the king side, but my pieces are still doing something. Not so much this knight or the rook, so that's like not great. But this light square bishop is developed despite not moving off its starting square. So I was trying to like incorporate those themes in this game, if you will. All right. Nonetheless, after I queenside castle, and this is what I mean. Justin wasted no time immediately castled as well, and I was like, whoa, this has got to be wrong. Not only does he still have this weakness, the D pawn is not easy to fix. Justin just sacking a pawn and for nothing. I spent a minute looking at this, just thinking like, okay, like, is there any downside? If he ever moves up, I can just move back with check. So he has to slide over, and I literally can just move back if I need to. I didn't see it, and it's with check. I literally didn't see a single reason not to take. I was like, I don't get this. So I take. He immediately blitzes over, and then I sit in this position for 7 minutes. I go down to 51 minutes because, well, I want to find the best move, number one, but also I want to take stock. And I know, like, white has got to be a lot better here. Now, why is white better? Number one, I have a pawn. So material is in my favor. Number two, he has really bad king safety. He's down to one lone pawn as defender. Number three, these pieces are really offsides. Like, they are not in the thick of things. There's no attack brewing here. And I think my pieces are far more active than his. So the gut wrench reaction is just to withdraw the knight to b5, which I think was good. But I tried to find a better move, and I think I found one. I was looking for some tactics. I was considering bishop takes, because if I go bishop takes, he goes pawn takes. I then have knight check on c6, forking him and winning the exchange. And I was calculating bishop takes knight, king takes knight, and then bouncing back. And the idea there is he still has his isolated pawn. He still has the backwards pawn. But I was kind of a fan of my knight, so I didn't think that was necessary. And then I thought, okay, I want to like open up my rook. I can also play bishop e3, kind of keeping my knight here for the time being, but activating my two pieces with one move. And I thought that was a good move. And then I said, wait, is there a better move? And I said, whoa. What about bishop a5? If he now takes my knight, I take his rook. He can't take the open c file, which is what he wants, because my knight's doing a great job of protecting that square. So if I move that, he has to move either over or up. And I was like, yeah, like that's got to be the best move in the position. Like, boom, let's play it. Yeah, I think at this point, white is considerably better. So I play it, bishop a8. Justin, again, wastes no time. He plays rook e8. After the game, I told him I thought that he could play rook d7. Like, I didn't think this was an automatic move. For the record, this doesn't work here. It's worth pointing out. His rook is defended by his knight. And I pointed this out, that if I play bishop b5, trying to get the next piece with tempo, he can just go king takes knight, then bishop takes rook, knight takes bishop, and it would be material-wise, I'd have like a pawn for the two, and a rook for the two pieces. I think black would be better there, but like there's no reason to blunder. If I need to bail out, I'm always seeing that I have knight c6 check, pawn takes, bishop checks, and I thought that would be kind of unusual, kind of having the two bishops on the side of the board where he's kind of cut off. I actually thought there might be some like interesting mating patterns or like tactics there. But when the dust settled, after he slid it on over, I said, nah, let's just draw it back. When I play knight b5, I'm once again hitting the pawn. The reason this move I think was very impactful, if I say so myself, and why I actually was thinking for him, rook d7 may have been better, is it means when I draw back with the knight, it's immediately hitting the d pawn. And I thought in that position, he won't be able to defend this pawn, and I'm going to just be up two clear pawns. And again, where I am with chess and other people at my level, if you're up two pawns, it doesn't mean you're like guaranteed to win. But I also am like good enough where like if you give me two pawns, it does mean I will win most of the time. I will say that. Again, if I'm playing someone way stronger than me, that's not the case. But anyone even close to my level, you give me two pawns in a middle game, like give me a break. It looks like I did find the best move. All right, I'm glad. And these moves, like bishop takes, were on my mind with the same tactics because then he has to go takes. But yeah, I just draw the knight to b5. And again, as you guys can tell, I'm hitting this pawn. It's really not so easy to defend. His knight is stuck here because I have more tactics. Either bishop there or knight with different forks if he moves this piece. Black is just in a lot of trouble. I still have g5 lingering. By the way, I was hesitating, waiting to play at the right time. A lot of my moves, it was a candidate move if I ever wanted to dislodge the knight. We'll get to that very, very quickly. All right. So far, like I've used almost half my time, but the game is going incredibly well. I really can't complain. On his time, I was actually thinking about the move he played because I was like, okay, he can't defend the pawn. What if he just jumps it forward? And I had my solution already. You'll see what happens. And I didn't think d5 works. I thought this was a losing move. And the reason why is if he can play this, and I obviously just like go pawn takes, and he jumps on in with either piece, all of a sudden black is coming to life. He's in good shape. But now is the time for g5. So I played g5 thinking he has to move the knight, and then I just go pawn takes pawn. He has to move the bishop again. And I just have like a clear pass pawn up 2 pawns with my pieces supporting it. And again, I would just be way better with like a, I'm going to be honest, especially because his king is oddly enough cut off, with like a very clear plan. And again, heart rate very, very low. So at this point, I'm loving my game. I think I thought that he has to move the knight, but Justin blitzed. I'm not kidding. I mean, he plays the next, from move 15 to move 22, he spent like, 3 minutes. Again, arguably he should have spent a little more time, but also when he's playing very quickly, I mean, I still have a lot of time, but he was throwing the ball back in my court. He just plays d4 like immediately. I think practically this move was good. I'm sure it was not the right move according to the computer, but well, I mean, I'm not sure. I think we checked it very briefly. Actually, I'm actually curious. We checked this in the bar very, very quickly. Yeah, all right, g5 is a great move. Thank you, computer. Thank you very much. Yeah, and he's supposed to just play knight d7, which is what I thought he'd play. And then I would go e takes d5. And, like, yeah, I'm up plus 2.6. It's very comfortable. And dare I say, easy. What the computer suggests, if he's going to sacrifice, knight takes e4 might have been better for him. That's a better sacrifice, maybe. Because what he plays instead, d4, very interesting. I'm going to give Justin a lot of credit here. Very interesting. Funny enough, I can start with knight takes as well. That's a move that I might play very, very quickly. But obviously, I take the knight. I was like, okay, well, I'm sure that this is a YOLO sacrifice, and it gives him practical chances, but it's probably not correct. I'm obviously going to take the knight. He takes with his g-pawn, and like all of a sudden, Justin's position's finally coming to life. This bishop is going to live on h6. It might get my king in a box. I still have 2 undeveloped pieces. This is a very strong pawn chain. And if he can connect his rooks and have like these bishops bearing down, I think black has practical chances here. Again, I know the computer evaluation, like we opened it up, it's like +3 or better. But practically speaking, I think black is still fighting in this one. Yeah, it's 3.3. Again, computer-wise, it's over. Oh, wow. 92 is the best move. Would you guys believe what I played? Played the best move, guys. All right, I am very proud of myself because I had no idea in this position. Justin suggested after the game bishop h3, which is not a move I saw, and he said that takes the life out of the position for black because it forces the trade. Because obviously I'm taking away this diagonal. He can't go here. I think he could go to c4 though. He can keep the piece on. Yeah, I'm not so sure. He told me that he thought that if I played bishop h3, he was close to resigning or so. But that it's not actually the best move or so. Yeah, nonetheless, I think for 5 minutes, and I play the best move. I say I got to get this piece in the game. I don't know if I'm going to jump it like this or if I'm going to sacrifice, but I got to get this knight into the game. For the record, I considered sacking back, just because this is so easy, this line, where I thought that if we reach this position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he would have the bishop pair, but I'd have a much stronger, I mean, I'd be up 2 pawns, and he also has these like shitty f-pawns, with the idea of just centralizing my knight. I was really close to playing this, basically sacking back, just for simplification. And it looks like this would have been wrong. It's still plus 1.6. Like, it's still a very comfortable position for white. But then when I didn't play knight takes pawn, I decided I wanted to try to find the best move. You know, what a nice concept. I realized I didn't need to actively defend this knight right away. I can kind of interdict it. I can't develop the knight anywhere else. And for me to win this game, I probably need to play with all my pieces. So that's where I came up with knight e2. My thinking for the main reason is I thought that this was an active piece. It's doing something as far as restricting, on c7. Now I can play, if I really want to, knight takes d4, because I still have the active pieces, and now all of a sudden my rooks will be connected and involved. So that was kind of like the dual purpose for the move. Because I'm kind of looking to simplify. I know I'm much better, but I just don't want to give Justin, like, practical, tricky chances where, like, I'm going to miss a tactic or so. Anyway, I play 92, and again, I kid you not, Justin slams rook c8. Just as fast as the willy-nillys, and it's clever, and this is why. He is now pinning this pawn, he's bearing down. Obviously, I'm taking away the d8 square, but before, he couldn't take this pawn because I could trap it with b3. Now, if he takes the pawn, I play b3, he can just take the pawn again, because my pawn on c2 is pinned. So I was really not sure what to do here. I also thought he has this move, rook c5, coming in. Again, kind of skewering these two pieces. Funny enough, I just went over skewering the concept, attack two pieces with one. I thought I have this move, king b1. It kind of gets out of dodge of like this bishop h6 checks and stuff. But I thought that it was a little bit weakening when my rooks are not connected. I didn't want any I didn't want any crazy bullshit where then he then has a check, like, you know, distracting me from this rook, things like that. I just thought that maybe I would be doing myself a disservice. So when he plays rook c8, I thought for, let's look at the things, another 5 minutes. And my candidate moves were king b1, and the move I played. I'm actually kind of curious. Yeah, king b1's the best move. Okay. Oh, baby. Look, guys, Justin laughed at me. not in like a mean way. Again, we're friends. But he laughed when I played this. My move is good. My move is good. I just gave the piece back and just consolidated to a clear endgame where for easiness. I'm thrilled. I mean, look at this, Justin. You know, I'm very happy actually. I play after rook c8. King b1's the best move. And I end up going knight on... Oh, they like B. They like this one. I went this way, I think. Did I? This is the problem with the writing. I actually didn't write down which knight I took on d4 with. Okay, the e takes... They're 0.02 difference. There's no difference. So I think I took with this one, but I may not have. I don't remember. It didn't matter, as you guys will tell. But I took with this. And the reason why it doesn't matter... Oh, the computer gives me a brilliant... Oh, baby! I'm clapping for myself. I get a brilliant for this move. Justin laughed at this move, but it made so much sense to me. He doesn't have the strong pawns anymore. I'm still going to consolidate to a very clear endgame where I'm just winning. And it's, like, very simple for me to play. Like, I totally understood it. So, yeah. So I go knight takes d4. Justin plays e takes d4. I go knight takes d4. I'm hitting the bishop. I'm now opening on up. You know, everything is golden. And this is where, oh, and by the way, in all those lines, the reason why, for the record, like, this is why I thought that this worked. You know, I'm not just, like, throwing pieces down to, like, consolidate. I was calculating. It's because now, if he takes, what I calculated anyway, is I saw I have b3, and if he takes with the bishop, my knight that ends up on d4, it's a mega square, is always covering b3. So that's why I thought that I was, like, winning here. Because I thought I have no weaknesses. I can get my last piece in the game if I want to. My rooks will be connected. He's got bad pawns, and it's a very easy structure. At the right time, maybe I can just play like c3 or whatever, or a3, depending. That this is pretty easy for me to convert, to be honest. Not that I could like beat Stockfish from this position, but you know, again, ease of mind. It is worth noting I'm down to 30 minutes, and Justin still has almost an hour. However, once again, Justin wastes no time. He blitzes. Bishop takes a2, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Justin, really? And the reason why is, when I calculated before, I saw b3, and he gets trapped. Like, I can move on in, and, like, again, it's the knight takes away. But I then saw, of course, that the true devious idea is if I play b3, he's got bishop check on a3, and I'm going to have to run with my king. And I start calculating like a madman. And I'm like, holy shit. And then I realize, all right, maybe he's got some weird tactics with, like, this piece jumping in. This piece is not doing anything. I thought, all right, if I trade this off, does he have, like, any in-between move that punishes me? And I said, all right, what if I trade this off and he checks me? And I said, no, it doesn't work. I can just go here. You know, he probably has to go takes with check. I take, and then he takes the knight. And then I'm still able to label b3. I am also, my king would then be on d2. No longer, I would just be able to take with the pawn. I would be safe. So I was calculating all this. Okay, good. That check doesn't work. If I take this, can he just back up? I said, sure, but then I've won his piece. Like, then his piece hasn't got trapped, but he's just down even more material. Great, winning. And so I go, I'm actually curious if this was accurate. I went bishop takes on a6. Yeah, computer loves my plan. All right, beautiful. Bishop takes on a3. Yeah, so I play, excuse me, bishop takes on a6. I wrote down bishop. Yeah, bishop takes on a. What move is this? Move 22. Yeah, bishop takes on a6. Cool. And again, I just wanted to. This piece is not doing much. I thought his piece, oddly enough, was doing more. He takes back. I then play. And now I play b3. And the whole time I spent another 5 minutes. I'm down to 26 minutes. And I was calculating. Okay, I said if this works, the game ends because his piece is trapped and he's just down a lot of material. I know I have like these checks in the right situation if you just like move the rook, that kind of thing. And I was calculating b3, what happens if he moves in? All right, I can go over. And then I thought, all these, if he moves back, blah, 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 he can't take because then my knight's covering. Okay, this bishop is doing a great job. He doesn't have any of those checks because it's actually taking away the a5 to e1 diagonal. And then I said, okay, great. If I move my king up to d2, I can then play rook a1. Even if he pins me, I can then take his bishop. If he takes mine, I actually crash on through. The game ends. I also thought that there were some situations where I was going to rook lift. Anyway, all that said, I then find the stones. I play b3, and I think if this works, it's over. I couldn't see it, and if it doesn't work, worst case, he got one pawn back. I'll still be up a pawn in an endgame. It's fine. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get checkmated. Justin goes in, not out. He checks me. Obviously, only move in the position is king d2. And, from here, again, and you know how I said this was going to be a calm game and everything has been pretty calm? When he plays here, this was my heart rate actually went way up because I was like, what is going on here? Because I got a little bit nervous because, he's got, he can't bring his other rook into the game yet. It's worth pointing out my dark square bishop is doing an amazing job. But he's got some moves like, rook c5, putting pressure on this bishop. I wasn't sure what it's going to. I think I was going to play b4. It lets his bishop back into the game, but maybe it traps this bishop. It was really wild. I had to think about all the other alternatives. And again, I thought bringing the rook in is accurate here. I thought, king d2 is forced. Yeah, okay, look at that. Rook c5 is the best move. That's what I thought he should play. Instead of rook c5 after king d2, Justin plays bishop b2, which is up there. It's a move. And honestly, this is a move I missed. I didn't even consider this. But it's not bad because I can't actually walk my king over to force trap, and I can't move my rook behind, so I need to think of square of the next move. And I was like, shit, he's now attacking my knight. The only move I saw, it's got to be the right move, is c3. I mean, it looked like nothing else really worked. Yep, c3 is the only move here. I mean, I could go knight f5, letting him run through, and I still have a clear advantage. But yeah, I play it. And my thinking here is he's attacking this twice. My bishop is defending, and now I can move to c2 and just gobble up his bishops. And with that, I should be winning the game. Now he plays rook c5. And this is a move I didn't waste any time. Obviously, there's only one move in this position. I just go bishop b4. Seems to make the most sense. And now Justin goes out wide. He's not quite done. He goes to g5. Now he's thinking about going wide and checking me laterally. And I'm like, shit. So now I start calculating. If I go here to attack, can I still do that? And I know I have these kind of checks. The first thing I thought of was bishop check. He moves somewhere, and then I block here. I got a little bit worried about h5, h4, thinking that maybe he wins a piece back. I didn't know. I thought that was pretty strong. I wonder if that's what I should have done. I end up playing king. I end up playing my king over king d. Okay, they like going up. King d3. No, king c2. That's the move I played. Is a winning move as well. Rook hg1. I consider that too. But I thought rook hg1. He could just play rook hg8. And if I go trade, we're kind of in the same position where I move up and then move up. Anyway, doesn't matter. White is completely winning. The reason why I move over is I calculated rook check, and I can block. He doesn't have these checks to dislodge my king because my knight is covering that one. And he doesn't have this check because my rook is covering that one. And I made sure that the tactics didn't work. I looked at all those options. I figured if I'm getting his pieces, I will be winning this game. So after king c2, Justin does give me a check on g2. I go rook d2, blocking. Justin plays rook h, g8. And after I play rook h, d1, so now if he takes, I will be winning these pieces. The game ends. Justin resigns. I had just over 20 minutes. Justin had over 50 minutes. So I did get quite a bit lower on time, but still plenty. And I won this game. So I'm thrilled with the win, always, of course. Yeah, I think I played well, honestly. I tried my best. I'm going to do the game review. The day streak. I think I'm improving. I think I'm doing well. Let me see. I played a 93% game, 93.7. Pretty good, honestly. I'm kind of curious the mistakes I made. Looks like the computer initially gave me a brilliant, and now they're rescinding it. Those bastards. They gave me a brilliant the first time around. What was the brilliant move that they gave me when I sacrificed? No, not there. Not there. That's just winning a pawn. This one. Well, the first time around they gave me this move a brilliant, and now they just give it a good. All right, whatever. You guys all saw it, I'm sure, on the video. You guys will see. Initially, they labeled it a brilliant. Anyway, I don't care. I think it was the right move, practically speaking. So yeah, so I got myself a win. I think I played pretty well. I'm pretty happy. I played Justin a lot. I do want to show you guys, this was the end of the tournament. I salvaged it after a really terrible start. A draw against Andrew Barber, the Barbs. A loss to Camille. Camille's a nice guy. I like him. Honestly, that was the worst classical game I've ever played. And then a draw against Jamie, which was a wild one. I was getting my ass kicked, and then he blundered, and then I gave him the draw, good sportsmanship. So really forgettable games. I do think I was sick for a 2-week stretch, to be honest, where I just really wasn't myself. I think a lot of people got sick and were sick, because I kind of bounced back, because I think my game against John Elsey, it was like a 14-move checkmate or something. Obviously, he blundered against the tactic, but I was thinking sharply. And then this game I played against Justin was pretty good. It looks like I lost about 30 points from this tournament. I don't know if you guys remembered, but the Spring Festival that I won, I had gained, I went over 1,700, which is fantastic. I think because of this, losing 30, I should end this month around 1,670, anywhere between 1,660 and 1,680. I don't actually know. It does mean I won't be back over the 1,700 bar, which means, because I didn't win this tournament, and in order to move up, you have to be 1,710. It does mean for April, for the record, we have the Tuesdays 7, 14, 21, 28. I'll be back in the mid-section, but maybe, ideally, hopefully, for the last time. We're starting club chess Thursdays. I will be able to play half of them. So my plan for both this month and next month is every Tuesday I'll be playing, and I'll be playing every other Thursday. So I'm going to play about 6 or 7 classical games this month and 6 or 7 next month. Anyway, I think that's about it for the video. 48 minutes, pretty good time. I guess very, very quickly, I will go through the computer stuff. I'm not going to dilly-dally on the book openings. Again, these are all book moves. D takes, queen check. Knight c3 is the book response. All right, cool. Trompowsky. I mean, it looks like Justin and I played, e4 is the right move, and then d6. So it looks like, we played, 14 moves of theory. Again, this is theory I knew. And again, white is better in this position. The Trompowsky. Trompowsky. I think Trompowsky was maybe a Polish guy. Who knows? W's and V's in that language, the Slavic, they're kind of the same. Anyway, whatever. All right, after d6, I did play queen d2. It's the best move. Awesome. He played e5. It is a move. He probably should have just played knight c6, just develop. Queen a5 here. There's no way humans just moving back after having just taken the pawn. Like that is never happening. Because it's just very unhuman-like. Just move the queen from where you just moved after you take a pawn. Knight c6 is a very typical human move, for the record. Anyway, he plays e5. Attack! And by the way, all these positions, I was wondering if I should throw in the check. It looks like the computer does like it, bishop e5 check. The idea of, c6, I don't have to trade right away. I thought it would actually help his pawn structure, to be honest, so I didn't like that. But it does get my piece involved. all of these moves, you know, on that spot, it was like a candidate move, and I had to think to myself, is it good here? Is it good here? But it looks like I played the best move anyway, which is simply bish e3, attacking the queen. Cool. I was really torn between that and g5. It looks like the two moves are both good. It doesn't matter what I do, but you know, I did think about that decision for a while. He did make the right decision. For some reason, I really thought that queen b4 was accurate, but the computer doesn't think so because I can just castle into that, which is scary a little bit. Or I can bounce him with a3, but I thought a3. Okay, so apparently it doesn't work. If he goes queen takes b2, he will get the queen trapped. Oh, because of this move. Ooh. That's a beautiful move. Rook a2. So not rook b1, which is not good anymore. I mean, he can then take on a3, and apparently white still has a small advantage. But because of rook a2, I did not see that. That's good to know. All right, let's get back to the game. They love my move g4. I'm so proud of myself for this move. It's the best move in the position. Excellent. Excelente. And I, you know, made sense. I'm very, very happy with that. He plays bishop e6, which was the obvious move of the position. Best move for Justin. You know, they give me an inaccuracy for knight b5. It is still like the fourth best computer move. They think I should just... I thought castling was bad. Why does this work? If he goes pawn takes, I was gonna... Okay, apparently because I can play knight b5 here. Ooh. Because this forces the trade of queens. And after we trade queens, doesn't he just... I did not see this. Hopefully you guys can see this. He both is going to get his bishop stuck, and I'm forking him, right? I'm threatening this. So he can't defend both things at once. So let's say he defends the fork, okay? So let's say he moves the king. Now I can play b3. And it's the same deal as before. He doesn't have these checks, besides which my knight's taking it away. I literally have the very simple plan of king b2. I just walk it over. He's going to have to sacrifice the bishop for a pawn. I just take back, and the game is basically over. Okay, that is interesting. Instead, I play knight b5 first. So I see why I didn't need to worry about castling, because if it castles, that pawn's not hanging. Because of that, then I have the knight b5. I didn't see that deeply. I didn't see that idea. And it looks like I gave up an advantage because I let him... I did know my queen was stronger than his. I shouldn't have gone into this queen trade. Also, I feel like this queen trade's forced, so it's easy move to spot. They do like the bishop takes better. All right, I'm glad I reasoned that one out. I still wanted to be able to castle. And it does look like if he just plays like king d7, white is better. It's almost +1. But yeah, he binked out the knight a6 very quickly. It's a mistake. I castle. Best move. Cool. He castled. This was just bad. I mean, it looks like, according to the computer, Justin doesn't hurt his position that much here, but it's like 0.5, which is a mistake. I mean, anytime I make a move that's like 0.5 worse than the best, something went wrong. But it does look like he's supposed to just play h6 here, which actually makes some sense. You're kind of... it makes some sense. I thought he should play h6 when I played g4. We talked about that a little bit at the game, and he said because I did think that bishop e6 was his best move. So he kind of didn't do it then, but now it's his best move. We also talked about him just playing bishop e7, just kind of getting into the game. Anyway, this was just wrong because he just gives me the pawn for no reason, and I just take it with check. I take it, he moves over, and I find the best move. This is I'm pretty happy with myself. Bishop a5 is more accurate than playing knight b5 right away. Because I can reposition, I can attack his rook. Obviously, he doesn't want to trade where he takes the knight with his king. I would take his rook with my bishop. So instead, it forced him to move it off of the square of the defense of the d-pawn, and I'm opening up to it. So I did see all that. So I feel proud and strong. Proud and strong enough to beat the world. These are Rounders quote. I made myself some coffee, just because I like the taste of coffee. It does not keep me up. I'm going to heat it up, though. Be right back in 1 second. Hey, kitten. Alright, this recap will be over soon. I'm just reviewing the moves. the moves. All right, I played the best move. Pretty cool. He's supposed to, this is a move that neither of us considered. Just blocking with the bishop, the bish, because then it lets his rook stay here. His knight is not passive over there. And I did think, moving up to d7 might be better because then he's still watching this pawn for the time being. Just moves a bit quickly. He lets me retreat my knight. Best move. He plays d5. Yeah, I thought at this point, as I mentioned in the while we were going over it in the analysis, black is basically lost here because I thought that I'm winning the second pawn and it's very, very clear and easy. I got easy ways of trading off material, and my king is just a lot safer than his with the lone pawn. Against a player much better than myself, or Stockfish or anything like that, I doubt I'd convert. But against anyone at the club, I probably will. Probably. I don't know how much better 2000 is than me. Alright, that was my coffee. I just got it. And let's finish strong. So, alright. And so instead he plays d5, which again was an interesting move, practically speaking. And the computer wants me to play g5, which is what I do. It's the only move in this position. It's a great move. Thank you, computer. He's supposed to just drop the knight to d7 and just try to grip and dip, but it's hard. And he plays what is the wrong move according to the machine, but practically speaking, I thought this was quite reasonable. This was a good try. I obviously take. He takes. Best moves. And I do play the best move here, which I'm thrilled about. Knight e2. So well done, me. He should play f5 and break up Actually, that move makes a lot of sense. Because anytime you have double pawns like this, and you can go a pawn break, because if he takes, he can open up lines for his bishops. He needs open lines, but moreover, he can also then play f5 in one go with the other pawn, and he just has massive. That's the strength of his in the position. Break it open, try to make use of the bishops in the middle of the board. I like f5 a lot. I think practically it's quite good. This was a good move though too for everything I had said as far as the rook on the c file, because now he actually is threatening to take. And this is where, again, computer initially gave me a brilliant. Looks like they took it away, those freaking bastards. I was torn between king b1. I thought that might be some tactical issues, given my rooks were not connected. I didn't want any back rank stuff. I didn't know if he had any takes, at some point takes, opening up through, just various sacrifices. I was just trying to go for simplicity, because I saw knight takes d4, and this is just very simple for me. Because I thought this was still very, very easy. He now takes the pawn. They love my plan. I'm very, very happy. I go bishop takes, pawn takes, and then I play b3. Cool. And I converted pretty well. Only move here. This was forced. Go king d2. The final few moves. Let's find out if I was accurate or inaccurate. Let's find out. This is a good move. Yeah, c3 was the only move. I found that one, of course. He then plays rook c5 here. Looks like I can... You know what's interesting? I thought that bishop b4 was the only move in this position. This will be about exactly an hour, we will say. But it actually looks like king c2 immediately might even be better. And that actually makes sense, because then if he takes, I take, and I'm immediately targeting this, and he is going to lose the other piece. So, yeah, that's actually interesting. But those are the two moves in the position. Of course, all these other moves are still pretty good. But I attack the piece. He slides over to g5. I go king c2, which is less accurate than just putting a rook on g1. Either rook, doesn't matter. So they don't like this move. So apparently this is not that good. He checks me. I play d2. Why? Well, he goes here, which is an accuracy. If he takes, I take. He plays g8. I was going to play rook e1 here. Rook e1's still pretty good. Why is this not just totally winning for me? Rook e1, check, and I was going to go rook e2. And then if he takes, I take. And the problem is he's still trapped. I don't know what to say. The pieces aren't getting out. So actually, after the game, I want to mention this because Ben had, we showed Ben the game, and Ben was saying how this is like a hornets under a blanket, and he said apparently the trick for trapping hornets under the blanket is to let one of them out or something like that, or let some out. He had a funny witticism with that. Anyway, the point is, if he gets out here, I thought that I could still run over, and I would let one like break free, but I would collect the other one, and again, pretty easy. All right. Anyway, apparently this was a mistake though. Once Justin doesn't go into the line, trade, and I'm able to play hopefully best move in the position. Yeah. Rook D1 is the best move in the position. This is just over because now if he trades, I can block. I will collect his bishops. There, of course, is no reason to play on in this position, and that's all she wrote. I'm going to add this to my game collection. That's the last game of the March Swiss. It is now officially April. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, almost a 94% accuracy. Very good game. I've been playing Justin pretty tough nowadays, which is cool. We played a lot of book moves. They took away my brilliant. That's all right. I can live with that. All right. Hope you all enjoyed it. Again, wasn't the finest finish to the tournament, but I only lost 30 points. Given I lost to Camille, who is more than 400 points lower than me, or I guess he's finishing the tournament only 300 and change. It's not so bad. Again, horrible game. I kind of made up for it. I think I played pretty well other than that. I'll have to look again at the game against Andrew Barber. I know that we made a draw where I was much worse, but the Barbs. Already looking forward to next week, fresh tournament. All right, actually, I want to highlight Matthew Wesley, who crushed everybody. I am curious about that dude. I'm curious about his games. I wanted to see how they went. I want to see how he ripped apart his opponents. All right, have a wonderful night. Peace.